Hello, everybody. So, today's case, we are going to be talking about Patrice Endres. And this case goes all the way back to 2004, so almost 20 years ago now. It's incredibly heartbreaking once we actually get into the details, but all the links that I use for research will be down below, like always, and there will also be a link to a case suggestions form if you have any suggestions for me to do in terms of cases. Also, please let me know how the quality, like the sound quality of videos have been. I have been trying to make steps to make sure that the quality is better and I'm louder. So hopefully you guys can hear me better. So yeah, let me know down below and let's go ahead and get into this. So Patrice was a mom, wife, daughter, and to the public, a businesswoman who was really great at her job. So she owned her own salon for 8 years in Cummings, Georgia, and she had a lot of pride in her work, and she loved to make people feel their best. At the time, she was 38 years old, and she went missing about an hour away from Atlanta on April 15th, 2004. So the GBI says that she was last seen just before 11:30 a.m. and was discovered missing after noon, like after 12 p.m. So the day she went missing, it started off fairly normal. She dropped her son off at school, and they were running late. Her son says that they got into a short and light argument because he wanted to get to school early to talk to his girlfriend before classes started, and she dropped him off, said she loved him like every other day, and then she headed to work to her salon, which is called Tamber's Trim and Tan. And based on her appointment book, she had her first client appointment of the day at 9 a.m. The client arrived 10 minutes early, and they recall that she seemed distracted and wasn't as attentive as usual. So the first appointment finished by 11:05 a.m. and the next one started at 11:10 a.m. and was over by 11:27 a.m. While that client was leaving, he got a phone call which was verified. A client called at 11:35 a.m. to change their appointment, and the client recalled that she was short with her during the phone call, which lasted only about 2 minutes. And that is per phone records. The next call came to the salon, and that came at 11:50 a.m., which was never answered, and this was considered unusual for Patrice. A witness would tell police that they saw a black SUV and a white cargo van parked in front of Patrice's salon, blocking the front door. Another witness informed police that while driving past the salon, they saw a man walking around to the driver's side of the van, but this would later be recanted. Patrice would miss her 11:30 a.m. appointment. By noon, a client called the police because the salon was empty, but the circumstances seemed strange. Patrice would be reported missing by her co-workers because it was highly out of character for her to just not be there and a client be there and she's not there. Patrice, uh, the police, arrived on the scene at the salon and they did a search. And upon arrival, they noticed that the cash register was left open with money missing. However, her car keys and purse were left out on the counter. And it seemed like she had been about to warm up her lunch from her home because all that was also still left out. Police didn't find any signs of forced entry or blood. The following day, police set up a roadblock where they spent several hours interviewing motorists passing through the area that she was last seen in. Later that day, a press conference was held, and they told the public about their points of interest, including her car being parked at an odd angle, the register, her keys, and her purse being left out. They were able to determine she'd been abducted between 11:40 a.m. and 12:10 p.m. On April 20th, 2004, police conducted a search of the Cherokee County, Georgia area along Highway 372 and Etowah River. At this point in the investigation, all leads were exhausted, but they kept searching. And in May 2004, the FBI became involved and tested a fingerprint found on her car. No match was found on the first set of prints, but on the second attempt, it was later determined to belong to a mechanic who changed her car oil a few days prior. FBI announced that they were building a psychological profile of the unknown suspect, and her husband Rob was interviewed, and he says her salon is 45 minutes away from Woodstock, where he got gas, and said that there was a turnstile at work that recorded the time he came in. And I've seen a lot of comments about her husband Rob. A lot of people had referred him as creepy or weird. Um, I can't verify that, obviously. I think there was an Unsolved Mysteries episode about her, which is where that's coming from. And a lot of people just said that like he gave off weird vibes. I don't know about that. I couldn't really find anything about that in the articles I was reading, but I did want to put that out there. And also, your spouse is usually like one of the first people, or is the first person to be suspected, interviewed, looked at in cases like this. Um, and he just says, like her job is fairly far away from him, and there's evidence that he was at work when he said he was. On December 6, 2005, her remains would be discovered while law enforcement was conducting a search in a rural, wooded area behind a church in Dawsonville, Georgia. The location is 6 miles away from her salon. She was that close to home the entire time. Her wedding ring, which was 2 bands soldered together with a Marcus diamond, was never recovered. And that is all I have for you on the case of Patrice Endres. The GBI tip line, if you have any information about this case, like if you knew Patrice, if you were passing by there that day, you saw something weird, you saw these men or whoever that was there, this car. If you know anything about that, you are urged to contact the GBI tip line, which is 800-597-8477. Again, the GBI tip line is 800-597-8477. So my thoughts on this case is that I think that this started out as a robbery, because obviously the cash register was open. Her ring has never been found. It really sounds like to me someone went into this salon and they intended to rob her. And I don't her purse and stuff was left behind. But I didn't see anything about whether or not the money in her purse had been taken, or her cards, or anything that she might have had. I would assume so. I don't think she would just leave her purse and stuff out where customers could see it. So to me, it sounds like this started out as a robbery. They took stuff from the cash register. Maybe for whatever reason, they took her, they abducted her. Maybe that's because they didn't want her to identify them, or they assaulted her in some way, or maybe they always planned on hurting her, and maybe they abducted her and they killed her. I don't know what her cause of death was. I don't know if it was like strangulation or anything like that. I don't know. I couldn't find any information like that. But they could have ended up choosing to hurt her and then taking her ring. Maybe she put up a fight about her ring if it was something that was really important to her. We don't know. But to me, it definitely sounded like they intended to rob her for sure, and they took her, whether that was planned or they decided that later on. That is what I think happened. Um, it's been almost 20 years. It sucks that someone has gone away with it for this long, but hopefully, there can be some renewed interest in this case, and something can eventually come out and break this case open. I do think it's definitely solvable. But let me know your thoughts down below. Do you also think it was a robbery? Do you think they intended to harm her the entire time, like assault her or anything like that? And yeah, just let me know your thoughts down below. Like always, please be kind when you let me know your thoughts, because you never know if family can come across this video. And if family does, I just want to say that I am so sorry about what happened to Patrice. I hope you will get your answers very soon. And thank you guys so much for listening to Patrice's story. I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye, guys.